Good morning, traders. Welcome back to another day of Trading Garage. Good to see everybody in this morning. Hope everybody had a good day yesterday. And looking forward to another interesting day. So once again, we're going to look at the timings of the crazy markets with other cool aspects to them. All right. Big day, big afternoon yesterday. I cheated on you guys a little bit yesterday. I had to be on a conference call here in the afternoon, and it had a really pretty breakout setup on the ES and the crude. And so I cheated and I grabbed a beautiful pattern 4 breakout on the ES yesterday afternoon. It was nice. I only took it for 6 points, but it was so clean. It's the exact same thing we'd have done in the morning. It just, I happened to be here in the afternoon to do it. So it was nice. Anyway, sorry about that. Looking over at the crude on our daily and then our weekly. Quick link to the weekly. Well, the weekly we've pushed up above support. Again, we talked about last week, probably going to do it. And if we got up anything above 78.50, then we were going to go right on back up into $80 a barrel. And we are not far from it. So big volatility during the day yesterday. A lot of move to the downside in the overnight. Now we've got a huge move right back up. So the weekly is still telling us up. And we did not get the reversal. Again, I'm looking for up potentially until next week, the end of next week. So next week is going to be a big one for me. We'll see. Did not get the move I expected nearly as volatilely as I expected it back the second week of December. So weekly still up until the end of next week. Excuse me. Looking at our daily, well, isn't that special? Yesterday, putting in a solid doji, we had to push up first thing in the morning only to bring it back down, doji it out, popped in a little bit of a low there in the afternoon, and then again, this market has launched here in the overnight. Probably all the Kazakhstan mess going on. People expect that's going to affect crude prices, I would imagine. So a lot of speculation here without question. Market is pushing up. We have resistance coming back in at $80 a barrel. That's our next level above us. And anything above that, and well, we're back up and retesting the multi-year highs. So $80 a barrel is the next major stopping point up. We are now well above the support level of 78.50, and we'll see where the market keeps going. We were on the sell cycle. I was expecting to see the push up, and to be honest with you, maybe I was off by a day, but I would have been looking for this to happen. There's the lines that I drew on Tuesday when we were here. That's where I really expected to see. And today's bar pushing through and putting in a higher high kind of messes me up. So I'm going to say we're probably not going to go on up. The last resistance, or we're not going to go down. The last resistance level on my chart was $80. And again, I really didn't think we were going to get above the 78.50, which we hit yesterday and came right back down. I really thought we were going to do that reversal pretty much right on time. It just didn't clean up. So the overnight here has messed me up. So with that overnight run, well, most likely we are not going to make that significant move to the downside at this point. So most likely we are going to end up going up and sideways until the 20th. So next major reversal is not until the 20th. And with today's move, as the market has come through here, it has kind of messed up my analysis. So the if we go above $80 a barrel, well, then it changes the whole analysis for the head and shoulders pattern as well. So that was kind of the topping area for me. Anything above there, I'd say the odds are pretty good. We're likely to see something like a pattern 5 on the 20th. So we still got about 2 weeks. Let's see, today's the 6th. That means the next week, yeah, we got 2 weeks. So in 2 weeks, we're likely to see a pattern 5 because of this current candle. We'll watch and see what the market continues to do here. Down to hither, what that was. Looking up to the daily cycle had given us an indication on day 1 that the underlying trend was going to be higher, And again, I really thought we would get up around that yellow line, 78.50, and I thought we would stall there and kind of hang out here for the next several days. But that's a pretty significant overnight move to get started. So the market has put in a lot of movement right off the open of yesterday. Very small pullback in the overnight, but otherwise that's a pretty strong candle to start off our day. So a lot of price transpiring here in the overnight. We'll see it on the 1 hour, I'm sure, but yeah, that's a continuation up. So I really thought we were just going to hover, but we're not. According to the daily cycle, we're going to go up for the next 4 days. So we're going to go up all the way until Monday or Tuesday. Up, up, up. Everything's pointing up. Ching. All right. We came into yesterday, and the last several days, we entered this power zone at 6 o'clock Monday morning. There was all day Tuesday, all day Wednesday. And as we came into last night at 10 o'clock, let's readjust this to fit. At 10 o'clock last night, we came into a selling power zone. Now, the market was projected to be coming into a sell trend for a while, and we pulled down and sideways into this area. We had a fairly clear swing low that was already in place. We had a fairly clear swing high, and that was the range of the market. As we've now entered that range, well, this morning, we put in a pattern 5 at 6 a.m. Higher high price at the buying time. Time came first. Higher high price at the buying time. Small pullback, only a 1 bar reversal, did not get as low as we need to see it. Let me reset this chart for a second. There's a line not printing. There it is. And with the market pushing up higher on the second bar, it gave us a indication that we're going to break out and go on up. This also closed more than 2 bars above. I'd actually be tempted to buy the market here just because that last bar right there. So as of here, we were on the buy side for a while on that last run, and we are now on the buy side again until Friday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So for the remainder of today and tomorrow, we are going to be favoring longs as of this morning at 8 a.m. So changing over to the buy side, watch for the continuation up. 1 o'clock this afternoon is our next signal of any kind. Yesterday morning at 11:30, we did put in the sell cycle over on the half-hour chart. The market started to make the move down. The sell cycle came in at the high of day, and the market obviously made quite the move down, putting in a pattern 4 at 10 o'clock last night or 11 o'clock last night. The half-hour chart from that pattern 4 has given us quite the reversal. So that pattern 4 has driven this market hard. Now, the interesting thing is we are coming into a pattern 5 on the 30-minute chart at 9 o'clock. We have already inverted. So the inversion was done there, actually technically right there. So we've already inverted to the buy side, which just simply means that's the equivalent of the market crossing over a moving average that we already knew to look for. So right there was the timing, and the market as of 6 a.m. this morning, it was inverted long. With that inverted long condition being met, now as we're coming into 9 o'clock, we're going to put in a pattern 5, which means we're probably going to see a pullback and then a continuation up again. So let's see what happens as of 9 a.m. and we'll see where the market takes us. We may very well get a range expansion bar here. We've not had one yet, and it is very possible that the 9 o'clock could launch straight out the top and then pull back off the 9:30 candle. So we'll see what it does, but we are generally trending up so far on every chart with that big overnight move. 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon, I did not remark this, but as of 3 o'clock yesterday, there was, wow, there was our trend move. So on the 15-minute, moving on down, we had a sell time coming in yesterday at 3 p.m. and there was a continuation. We were expecting to see the sell in place until 8:30 tonight. So it is now inverted the remainder of the time. That's the time we have left. For those of you guys that don't know what remainder is, the amount of time that we have left in the zone is now going to be favoring longs. So we were favoring the short, and now we are favoring the long. So the trend is going to be up from here to here. Cha-ching. And we'll watch and see what continues to happen. We are putting in a pattern 5 on this chart as well, 8:15. And once the bar closes that we're on right now, has 5 minutes. Once this 5-minute bar has closed, we will actually have a breakout opportunity for the continuation up, which would lend itself well to the other 2 time frames. So pattern 5s and pattern 5 with a breach if we go up after 8:30. So let's see what happens right at 8:30. I may put a limit order, a buy right there, pushing on up into $80 a barrel. I expect we're going to hit $80 a barrel and slow down dramatically. But until then, next signal up of any kind is not till 9:15. Pattern 5. It's already a pattern 5, just a matter of whether or not we can actually get an entry off of it. So it is already a P5. 79.56 is going to be the breakout number. And off of 79.56, we're going to be looking for a move up into $80 a barrel after the next 4 minutes and 45 seconds. So hang 10 here for just a minute. Down to our 3-minute chart. And as we're looking at our 3-minute chart this morning, all right. What does the 3-minute chart tell us? We had a chop zone area and an area where we had no expected trend. That came in at 6:45. It was over by 7:27. And as that trend, as that spot in place was over, we came into a buying time. Let's go back here and grab a box from yesterday, pull that bad boy in. Yeah, yesterday afternoon, 11 o'clock, there was the sell trend that kicked in. And obviously, the market stayed down the entire time. It did come back into a buy trend again at 3:45 this morning, which obviously it pushed higher. This zone was over by then. And on our entry level chart, okay, let's see where we're going to be. Hold on, that's too big. That's way too large. Large and in charge, but too big. Okay, there we go. All right, and so this morning, we entered a new power zone out of the chop zone right there. It's going to be in place until 10:27, so we have some time. The market has made a solid move up already. Short-term double top. Pattern 5 came in right there just a moment ago. We already have the pattern 5 on the chart, so I kind of missed that one for the pullback, but I won't miss it for the breakout. That's actually pretty clean because in 2 minutes and 45 seconds, we're going to have an econ out. In addition to the econ out, all the way until 8:50 tonight. Right there is our next move. I don't know what the actual prices are going to be, but we'll remark them again when we get to 10:27. Right now, they would be right here. So we've already had the pattern 5 pullback. We had the pattern 5 showing on the higher time frames as well. So right now, we have a 15-minute that says anything above the current candle is a breakout trade, trend continuation. The 30-minute says we're on a pattern 5. We could get a pullback at any time, but we haven't had a range expansion. Therefore, a push up into $80, not a surprise. And the 1-hour chart is just buy. So, in fact, the 1-hour chart is already a breakout long because the pattern 5 gave a 1-bar pullback and then a continuation. So everything is pointing toward a breakout. Well, that's interesting. In 1 minute and 45 seconds, if the market pushes above here, 1 minute and 45 seconds, now 1 minute and 37 seconds. If the market pushes out above this time or above this price, this would be a pattern 5 breach. And if the market goes above the pattern 5 breach by more than 2 ticks, that's why I've got it set at 55. If we go above it in 1.5 minutes, actually, if we go above it at all on this chart, but 1.5 minutes, then it's in agreement with everything. If the market breaks out above that, breakout trades are a little more risky inherently, so please bear that in mind. But if we break out above here, really good probability we're going to see a move right up into $80 a barrel. So I'm going to look for a pattern 5 breakout if the market doesn't do what I think it does. And if it punches and comes right back down, I will be willing to give this one some room and I could buy it in again at 78.69. So that's a little bigger move than I would like, but when your volatility pre-market's already at it's already calming down and it's still at 17 cents a bar, that's a lot of volatility in the overnight. So wow, look at that mess. At 5:30 this morning, we were up over 20 cents a bar. She was cranking. So let's see what happens. 23 seconds. Going to look for a breakout trade long. Everything in agreement. It's into the sell cycle. This is 1, 2, not really a pattern 4 or a pattern. It's nothing. It's a pattern 2. So in 7 seconds, going to look for a breakout trade long and see if we get at least a few $100s off of it. I'm looking for a move up into $80 a barrel. The initial risk is going to have to be below 79.23. So this is going to require about 15, 18 cents of risk. Actually, more than that. 25 and the 55 is 30. Oof. So initial risk is going to have to be a little bit bigger. We'll see if it's even going to do it. So if it breaks out above here, then we're going to be looking for the continuation higher. Otherwise, we have pattern 5s that are now cleared out. The 1 hour has already punched through. And with the 1 hour punching through, again, I think everything else is going to follow suit here. It might just take it a few minutes, but we'll see what happens. The 30-minute is the only one that is not completely clear. So in the 30-minute, we're on the signal bar now. So if the signal bar punches, if it were to get all the way up into 80, that is range expansion. So we may be waiting on the 30 to get this move. We'll see what happens, but the price level is still the same. So I'm going to leave mine sitting there for a little bit. I'll open a dome over here on the other side so that I can monitor it in the corner of my eye while we're doing our setup, just in case. All right. So if we're going to get a pattern 5, breakout trade long right there. Otherwise, she's just going to pull back. And that's counter to the trend everywhere. And I don't have the actual great entry for it. So take the lesser of the evils for the moment. All right. I'm going to leave that one sitting. Let's see what happens in the next few minutes. Looking at the Russell. Well, pretty much as our daily chart anticipated, we were going to be looking for a move down off the sell. And we pushed up into a buying bar at a selling time. We were looking for the underlying trend to grind its way back down into the 14th, which is next Friday. I was not expecting to get it all in one day. So 1 bar, that's a pretty significant bar for a single day move. That single day pullback actually gave back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. He gave back the last 8 days of gains on 1 pullback bar. That's pretty significant. So heavy pullback down, coming in right on time within 1 bar. Notice the doji. Oftentimes, if you get a doji on the bar of the signal or the bar after, that will be the catalyst to get the move started. And this one, we had the doji that came out on Tuesday. So yesterday, no surprise, grabbed a couple of nice little shorts off of it during the course of the day. And she was good to go. We grabbed that last short as we came into the end of the day, which was kind of clean. So we made the move down, still continuing. We're going to be favoring the short. Now, usually when we have a day that's this hard of a pullback day on a single bar, usually the next day will be a buying day, and it'll be a smaller volatility day. So these guys will take a breath before they make the continuation lower. That's the same kind of thing that we've seen over here. Here we had a similar pattern where we had a huge day down. The very next day was not near the volatility. It was a push back up and ended up kind of small. And then we saw the continuation down the day later. Very similar pattern. So here we have a huge bar down today. No surprise if we get a pullback up, and we'll see a pullback, and then probably going to end up with a low close bar or a very small buying day, only to push it down again tomorrow. So tomorrow is likely to be another down day. That's a fairly typical pattern for any kind of a candle. And yeah, so still going to be generally favoring the shorts, but for today, I'm expecting we're going to see a pullback up. Now, if the market puts in a lower low than the overnight low, which is 71.73, or 2173. If we put in a lower low than that, all bets are going to be off. We're probably going to come down and retest 2130. So again, if we breach the overnight low, 2130 is going to be the number. We'll see where it goes. Yeah. And the daily cycle has confirmed now as well. So looking at our daily cycle, we closed the first bar inside. We had an inside bar on the very first one out of the gate. Second bar, well, is not an inside bar to the controlling range. The second bar, well, that's a pretty significant move. That was yesterday. So with yesterday closing below 2247, I didn't care if it closed 10 pips below or, well, what it is now. Didn't really matter. It closed below. So it's fairly binary when you're looking at the chart this way. By the chart closing below, it told us that, well, we're going to be lower than we started by Monday. So we got four more, we got almost 5 days. So by Monday, Tuesday, we're going to be lower than we were this past Monday. So we'll see how that one goes. So still on the short side, even though we're likely to pull back up, we are not likely to close above 2269 by Monday. All right. The zone is going to be over today at 3 o'clock. And that big move yesterday, right there was our zone. And with that big move yesterday, 2 bars closing below, not part of a pattern 5 or a pattern 4 rather. When was the last time I had a sell box? Way back over here. Let's grab it from over. We're going to need a couple of these now. Okay, this move was originally expected to continue up on the 1 hour until 3 o'clock today. That box that big? I guess it was. And that is now going to be short until 3 o'clock today. So with that move closing 2 bars below, as of yesterday afternoon at 4 o'clock, as of 4 o'clock, we're going to be down until 3 o'clock this afternoon. So the zone is now inverse, and what time we have left to play with, again, we're going to be to the downside. We're going to be favoring shorts what time we have left. Market made a pretty significant move, and by doing that thing, again, it has inverted. So it's telling us that we should really be favoring shorts as long as we're below the bottom of the box. If we get a pull up today, we did not get here from a pattern 4. There's an up into a sell. The last sell is sideways, not much happening. As we're coming into, looks like 10 o'clock, we might get a short off at 10 o'clock. Otherwise, not much to see. We've had such a big move. The 1 hour chart's not very helpful right this minute. Okay, and all right, yesterday at 10 o'clock on the 15-minute. Geez, it made such a big move down. It's got my chart all out of whack. So 10:30, actually, 10:30 was the new buying zone. So as we entered 10:30 yesterday morning, right there it was. We came out of the sell zone, which we stayed below. We stayed in the right direction the entire time. Market got back below the average price after sitting on it forever. Uh-oh. Hang on 1 second, guys. I got my breakout trade on the crude. And really, it's another pattern 5. Crap. Well, shoot. I may have to deal with this one for a minute. So breakout trade, I got a feeling we're going to get a range expansion bar here. And if this sucker doesn't continue pushing higher, it's going to surprise me. I'm looking for a move up into $80 a barrel. I did not pay attention. We do have another 3-minute pattern 5, which might give me a problem. And this is the only bar of that pattern 5. 32 seconds to go. Yeah, I don't think it's going to give me a problem, no. If it does give me a strong pullback, I will buy the market again at the target level, and I'll get it there. So if it does give me a problem, that's where I'm going to redo it. This breakout level, again, it is a direct representation of the pattern 5 breakout on the 15. The pattern 5 is still in place on the 30. It's a pattern 5 breakout over on the 60. Everything is pointing up into $80. So yeah, I got the breakout. If we go anything higher at this point, 79.63, 2 ticks above it also is a breakout on the 3-minute, but I realize I may take a little heat here if it doesn't punch it fairly quickly. So if it'll go on and get above 63, 64, 65, there it is. Good. All right, so I'm probably not going to take a lot of heat off of this one. So watching for the continuation higher. It's a trend continuation move. We have a pattern 5 with a pattern 5 punch through. That says that we should move on up into 857. So I'm looking for the underlying trend to continue to be higher now until 857. I'm going to give this one some room while I finish my analysis. I do have, if it should give me a pullback, I do have a scale in price here, which is a bigger move than I would like to see. But if I do get that, I'm going to look for a retest of the high anyway. And I'll just have 2 contracts on. So we'll see where it goes. Breakout trade long on the crude. Let's see what that one continues to push up to. What are we doing? Oh, yeah, that. So we had on the Russell until 145 today. We had a buy zone on the Russell there. 1, 2. The market closed 2 bars below. So we knew yesterday at 11:30. So as of 11:30 yesterday morning, the power zone analysis said we're probably going to move down all the way until 7:45 tonight. So interesting. So the Russell said we're going down, boys and girls, until 11:45 p.m. and we knew it yesterday morning at 11:30. Nice. So we had a projection of downness. Interestingly, we did not get to the big pullback that we have right now from a pattern 4, which is always interesting to see. That means it tells me that this move is probably not over to the downside. So oftentimes when you get a huge move down, if there is a pattern 4 at the bottom, okay, if there's a pattern 4 that gives you the very bottom on any chart, then usually that will tell you that's going to be the bottom to watch, and that's the big one. We don't have that yet, not on the 15 or the 60 anyway. So we don't have pattern 4s here constraining us, which means if we roll back over, this sucker's just gonna punch and keep on going. We'll see how that one goes. So nice little move. We're inverted early, which is nice. We have plenty of time to take advantage of it. 9 o'clock this morning, we're going to look for our next sell. Not much to see here until then. Just looking for the shorts. And looking down to the 5. Earl, you still hanging? Are you in the little trade we got on the crude? My dome says I'm up $180. Headed its way to 350 or something. It's a nice little trade. Cha-ching! Well, I'm up $150. So she's going. Come on, baby. I got till 8:57. All right. Well, good job. Earl's already got flat there. Nice. All right. So our 5-minute. Ooh, 5-minute did give us a pattern 5 forward, didn't it? Morning, Mr. Senegal. Good to see you this morning. All right. So our 5-minute chart, not a surprise to find one here at some point. Our 5-minute chart as of midnight last night did put in a pattern 4. So the 5-minute chart did give us a P4. No higher time frames are showing it, but we did get one down here at midnight 05. And where is this sucker supposed to be? Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot. So yesterday we came into a buy time at 250. I forgot I redrew this because I had to be here for a conference yesterday morning or afternoon, so I traded. So yesterday we had a buy time coming in at 250. The market inverted after the first 4 bars, and it told us that trend move was going to be lasting from 250 until today. It's going to be in place until 10:55 this morning. Okay, so until 10:55 today, we are going to be favoring the shorts. So we knew yesterday, right then, that she's going to go down for a while. The zone's larger than I would like to see for a 5-minute, but it is what it is. I can't change that. So there's the move. Let's see what it continues to do. Going to be favoring the short till 10:55 and even thereafter. after 10:55 this morning. We'll have to wait and see what the price structure is, but yeah, even after 10:55, looks like we're going to be favoring the shorts for a while, all the way until 7:30 or something or other. So we'll see how that one continues to roll out. Favoring short today on the Russell. Not much else for me to do on here. So we have favoring short all day, all time frames. Currently, we came into a 835 sell. We were putting in a new high, a new recent high, and our new overnight high actually. And the sell coming in, nice little move, 845, pushing up again. If we put in a higher high at 845, if it were to do such a thing, we would have a pattern 5 and we might get another short off of it. So we'll see what happens between here and there. Ah, come on, pig. So crude is getting very close to my profit target. You know what? Now 4 pennies away. Guys, I'm not going to take a loss. I am 4 ticks from my target. I'm sorry. I'm not going to lose anything on this trade, not being 4 pips away. So 4 pips from my target. I think somebody need to go ahead and give me some money here because, yeah, man, I'd like to get more than that, but I'm not going to take less. I'm going to get 200. I got $230 off that trade. 4 pips from my profit target. And now I have a lot of open position profit that was hanging out here. So I'm not going to take a loss. I'm out flat. The pattern 5, that's a pattern 5 breakout across the board. 4 pips is pretty close. And it does put us into that 9 o'clock pattern 5 on the half-hour chart. So that was the only one. Again, I was looking for that push up. It's still got 14 minutes to go. But there is a likelihood that we're going to get the half-hour chart's going to give us that pullback pretty much on the open. So right off the open, that daily resistance is not a crazy place to expect a pullback. So I got $230 off to get the morning started. Had a little bit more than that, but that's what I got. But we'll pull this back down some, and this would be the target level for the pattern 5. Over on the 30-minute chart, yeah, it's probably going to be about the same target level for there. So if I get a pullback down, I'll look for another buy opportunity off of it. I'm going to let it just kind of sit there and soak. I don't know if we're going to get that much of a pullback, but we might. I have a lot of time. I have until 10:30 left. So, yeah, we'll see. If we move down into there, 857, you know what? A pattern 4 at 9 o'clock. If it's at 9 o'clock, a pattern 4 would be 91. Yeah, I'm going to let my order sit for a minute. Probably won't get the fill, and I may move it again, but for now, that's where I'm going to go. So favoring short, favoring long across the board on the crude, favoring short across the board on the Russell. So Russell's down, crude is up. Let's look at the ES, see what the ES says. Is it happy? Is it not? ES is, well, we're on the sell side of the ES. Double resistance levels, highest level on my chart, 47.85 is the biggest thing I got. I got nothing above here. Anything above there, we've never been there, so it's kind of hard to have anything. I really thought we were just going to continue on up into a pattern 5 on the 24th of, or the 2nd of February. So it's, you know, it is a sell. We are at resistance. The market is starting to give our first indication of a pullback. Really got nothing else. I really think we're going to push on up, but we'll see. Again, it's just a pattern 2, but it is a primary on a weekly chart. So a weekly sell. It doesn't take much of a weekly sell bar to indicate a lot of movement on an intraday. Watch for support coming back into the ES at 46.52. We've been hanging around that 46.52 price for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of the last 10 consecutive weeks. We have touched 47.52. So that's pretty significant. So that price is probably going to continue to be pretty significant again this week. So if the market comes back 46.52, watch for a bounce off of there. We are on the sell side of the daily. So the daily and the weekly are actually in agreement for the current until Monday. And doji coming in, remember, every time you see a doji that forms right at a signal bar within 1 bar, that is usually the catalyst or can be the catalyst to push the market. And in this case, that's what we've seen. We had the doji that formed out week before last, and then our day before yesterday. And then yesterday, obviously, a strong move down. So going to continue to favor the shorts here based on these two charts. Dropping down to the other daily. Oh, that's pretty significant as well. So the daily cycle, we were just looking for a candle to close or a bar to close either above or below the controlling bar range of Monday. I didn't care if it was up. I didn't care if it was down. Tuesday closed an inside bar. So Tuesday, we knew we had to wait for one more day. And yesterday, obviously, that was the move. So yesterday, the move started, giving us an indication that we will continue. We will be down. We will be lower than we began by next Monday. So if you're trading on an option, we had a 1 day lag. Well, basically because it's closed inside. When that happens, you got to wait another day. So we had time decay. And one more day, there's a move on down into, and we're expecting to be short or lower than we started as of next Monday. So if you're trading on an option, again, not such a bad little move. As of Monday, we'll start to see a pullback. Looking down to the 1 hour. The 1 hour chart, we had been above. That was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Monday, we came into the buy zone at 6 o'clock in the morning. And as of yesterday, 1, 2, got to give it an extra bar because it was a pattern 4. 1, 2, 3. And as of yesterday, we now have ourselves an inverted power zone on the 1 hour. So the market was following along very nicely. We tested the bottom, shot up, put in brand new highs again. The market was kind of hanging out. And when it had the big drop and it closed 2 bars, in this case 3, because it was a pattern 4 as of 6 o'clock last night, when it closed that third bar below, and it did not manage to come all the way back up and get inside that green box again, it's going to be down. And it's going to continue to be down until 12 o'clock, high noon today. Off of high noon today, the expectation is we're going to continue down from high noon today until 9 o'clock tonight. Little choppiness in the market right now. That's the high. That's a long way up there, and that's the low. So we'll see what it gives us. Time it gives 4 more bars formed out here, it might have something different. Now, remember I said earlier on the Russell that I was looking to see if a higher time frame chart had formed a pattern 4, because if it does, the pattern 4 will usually be the floor. That will usually be the low. If that low gets broken, it'll get broken with an ever-loving vengeance. But the low will usually be in place if it's a pattern 4. Well, at 11 o'clock last night, we put in a pattern 4. And as of right now, since 11 p.m., this pattern 4 is going to constrain our market, which means we're probably going to see the continuation higher here into 12 o'clock today. So I actually would expect that shorts are probably going to struggle until high noon. So as of 12 o'clock, we're going to start a new trend move. But because of the pattern 4 that was formed down in the overnight, that is going to form our floor. So if the market does break it, we're going to come down into 46.52 like it's nobody's business. But unless it breaks 46.67, we're probably going to continue up all the way until high noon today. So hang 10 here for a few minutes, so we'll see what it's going to do. Next signal of any kind is at 10 o'clock this morning. 15. Okay. So the 15-minute doesn't look right. Well, I guess it is, though. Wow, what a mess. All right, so yesterday morning, 9:15, we came into a buying power zone. It was a little bitty because of the overnight price action, but it is what it was. And 1, 2, 3 bars because it was a 4. Yeah, so everything after 1:15 yesterday was going to be down. Excuse me. So from 1:15 yesterday, we had an inverted zone, and that zone said that until 4:15 last night, we were going to continue lower. So we knew right there, as of 1:15, the whole afternoon was going to be down. And it was beautiful too. I grabbed Again, I grabbed a 6-point short off of it, just scalped something there. Could have got a lot more, but if I started feeling guilty, I was like, well, I'm sitting here trading, and my guys aren't. No one's here to see me. I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be nice and not trade this account when everybody's not watching, but I did. So my apologies. There to here. All right, and so we are on the sell side of this now until 7:45. Ching. All right, so until 7:45, we're going to be favoring shorts tonight. So we started that at 4:15 yesterday afternoon. We came into a new shorting power zone. It's gigantic. I understand it's big. I don't like it that big either, but it is what it is. I can't control the price action. So we'll see what the market does. Just generally going to be looking for shorts. The closer that the market, if it pulls back up, the closer we get to 47.32, the lower the risk is going to be. This one also was not constrained. We do not have the bottom constrained in a pattern 4, so therefore, according to this chart, we could roll back over and easily come down to 46.52. We'll see how we end up working out there. Next signal won't be until 10:45, and it's going to be a sell. So let's see what we get between now and 10:45 on the 15th. So everything is currently still pointing down on the projections. And if we look at, let's go ahead and rescale this one. Doing pretty good. I haven't coughed but twice all morning. That's actually a major improvement. All right. Let's grab a box or two from yesterday. We'll pull these in today, reuse them as needed, and let's see what we're going to get. All right, so our 5-minute entry level, the entry level chart put us on the buy side of things until 9:45. So our 5-minute chart is saying buy, buy, buy. Everything else is saying no, no, no. We're going to go down, down, down. 5 minutes says, you know what? As of 4 o'clock, I think we're going to go up for a little while. And we have. It's been more sideways than up. Let's face it. It has been up, but it has been fairly sideways. Now we're coming into a trend reversal, and that's pretty significant. All right, so we'll have to see where the prices are at 9:45. But much like we saw yesterday, if you guys remember, let's not forget, history repeats itself. And yesterday, right here, where was it? Right there. So yesterday, our happy market, we had an inverted power zone, and we had an inverted power zone that started yesterday morning at 10 o'clock. And technically, actually, here, no, 9:50. So at 9:50 yesterday morning, we knew there that the remainder of the day, remember that zone yesterday, we remember our analysis, that zone was going to be in place until 4 o'clock. So we knew yesterday at 10 o'clock, remember we shorted the market a couple of times in there, and as we got closer to the top, I shorted it again at the top. And I didn't hold it forever, but I got several other shorts throughout the rest of the day. But we knew there, based on the power zone technique, that the market should be lower by the end of the day. Now, we didn't know it was going to be, nobody knew that it was going to be 46, 47. I didn't know it was going to be 100 points lower. I wasn't claiming that, but it was going to be lower. So we knew that the trend was most likely, fairly high probability, it was going to be lower by the end of the day. Today, our power zone says that we are projecting a trend move that's going to start at 9:45 this morning, and that trend move is not going to end until 7:35 tonight on our 5-minute chart. So with that knowledge, we are now able to identify the structure of the market at 9:45. If the market closes 2 bars above whatever the height of the structure is at 9:45, then we're going to go up, but we're not going to go up for an hour. we're going to go up the rest of the day. So we don't get these every single day. This is not working every day, but it does occasionally. So when it does, when we do get these full day long trends that are expected to happen on our 5-minute chart, let's pay very close attention. Again, when these happen, they are worth paying attention to. So yesterday we had one, we're going to have another one today. We're going to see what happens at 9:45. We're currently in a buying zone. We've been in a buying zone that we started at 350 this morning. The market has been higher since 350. Remember, these things are telling us beginning to end. All kinds of in and outs can happen in a trend, but we're looking beginning to end. And so far, we are higher than we started. Trend reversal, 9:45 on the 5-minute. We'll see if we can get an entry of some kind there and what the structure of the market is when we get there. Excuse me. All right, crude is opening. Everything on crude is still pointing up. This is the only chart right there that I have that says maybe not. So I have one chart. My 30-minute chart is pointing that we are in a pattern 5. We have just retested daily resistance. Got within 4 pennies of it. That was my first profit target. I didn't get it, but I also didn't take a loss either. I only got $250 off. If I'd have waited, I'd have got it probably here. And ding, there it goes. So that was my original target. I just wasn't willing to take all the heat on the pullback. I went ahead and got out with 250. So daily resistance on a 30-minute chart. Now the current bar, which is obviously not going to close until 9:30, the current bar here is the last bar of this power zone, not the power zone of this pattern 5. It is the last bar. There are no other pattern 5s for a little while. This one is pushing up. So we're going to go up potentially into 9:30. That's possible. Pattern 5 breakout. There was a breakout that we had here earlier on the 15th. There was a breakout. We took the buy off this one I did early this morning at 79.54, and that was my breakout trade, and took it up into $70 or $80. And again, I didn't get quite that much, but now we are on this P5. 909. We're going to have another pattern 5, 918. We have the potential for another one there. So we have 2 of these that could happen on the 3-minute, and they would both be in agreement with that 30. Nothing else on the 15. So if it's going to pull back, it will do it either at 909 or at 918. Other than those 2 times, this market's going to push itself right out the top today. Resistance is not held at $80. It punched through. With that punch through, yeah, this thing's going to continue up for a while. So crude definitely to the long side. ES, a little bit of a mixed bag right now. Russell, everything is short. So across the board, Russell, everything says down, down, down. Not so bad. All right, so we should be able to take pretty good advantage of some of these moves today. All right, so we'll see where we're going to end up going for the day. And what happens. Okay. And let's get some tunes rolling. We'll see what we can find to play with. I need more coffee. This now qualifies as a range expansion bar too. That means if the bar we're on right now I need this bar. If this bar touches 80.23, I'll have a counter trend, counterintuitive short, which will be in agreement with our 30-minute. So far, there's been very little pullbacks in the morning. All right, that last bar was not a pattern 5. Support is now holding at $80, which is a daily support level. Above $80, there's some room. Got nothing above it. Guys, I'm gonna look to buy this market. I was gonna short it if we hit a pattern 5, but I may buy it into the pattern 5. $80 a barrel support. I'll buy it again if it pulls down significantly below me. But I have some major support level here at $80 at a buy time. This last bar was not a pattern 5. If the bar one right now or the next one pushes up into a P5, then I'll just get out, but I'll get out with some profit. So let's see if support's going to hold buy time at a major daily support level for the crude. I really hope it hits a pattern 5 here, because if it does, it'll give me some out. So this is currently just a pattern 1. It is not a pattern 5. It is a pattern 1. The buy time at support. And volatility is way up there today. So again, super cautious in the markets today. 24 cents per bar currently. That's a lot of movement. There you go. If the market hits the previous swing high of $80.23, and if it hits it on this bar, then I will lock in most of my profit, if not all. As it is, I'm up $150 in the trade, and I think I'm gonna get $50 just to make sure. So I'm not gonna take a loss on it of any kind. All right, so I got my $50 off. At the close of the bar, I may get another buy at $80 a barrel again. I think we're gonna hover right around this $80 a barrel mark for a little while. Again, that's daily support. Actually, you know what? If this bar closes inside of that big bar, I don't know if it's going to, but if it does, that's going to end up being a pattern 7. Which means we'll pull back to the moving average. Whichever, I don't even know where that is right now, but I'm pretty sure we're above one. That is a pattern 7. And as of the touch, if the market touches here, it's in a pattern 5. We're over on the ES side into a sell, counter to the trend, counter to the projected trend. Market's hovering all over its open price from yesterday. So we opened up yesterday at 4 o'clock at 46.92, and the ES is still sitting at that same price. So it has not made any significant movement since then. Minute 40 seconds, I may get an extreme low risk short counter trend. We are now putting in a pattern 5. We just tested the swing high to the penny within 1 penny. Oh man, don't pull back too soon. It's also a sell signal. Let's see where this bar closes. If it closes somewhere around 20 to 22, if it closes in that range, then we get a really low risk short. Range expansion, pattern 5, last bar of the pattern 5. If it's going to pull down, it's going to pull down on this bar. This is an agreement with the 30-minute chart. 54 seconds. Again, I need to see where the bar closes. I'd like to get 10 cents or less on the risk. Mm-hmm. 10 cents or less. The risk is going to have to be 26. That means I need to be 16 or higher to have 10 cents or less risk. Bah! Watch it pull on down. And one last signal is going to be up. This will be the last opportunity for a pattern 5 at 9:18. Last shot to have a confluence pattern 5, brother. Well, 17 risk is 1, 2. So there's my full risk. Profit target is down here. Counter trend, counterintuitive. Not going to give it a ton of risk. If we touch the top again at this point, it's automatically another pattern 5, and this will be the last pattern 5 with 30-minute confluence. So see if we can get a little move back down. In order for this to work, the bar that we're on right now, this bar has to close below 15. If it breaks out, it's going to run. All right, automatically a pattern 5. We tested the previous high. We did not break out above it. So by testing it, it put this into an automatic P5 for the 9:18 signal. Again, I'm looking for a little counter trend move. We haven't had much of a pullback. If we can just get a move back into 80 or something, that'd be okay. But if we don't close below 15 in 40 seconds, I'm going to bail on it anyway. All right, guys, I'm going to go to a free position here. Trade is starting to work. Come on, go, pig. Back down to daily support. That daily support level is going to be tough. She's going to be a tough one. So I think I'm going to take some profit back at $80. Otherwise, I'm going to hang on until 79.76. There we go. So nice clean pattern 5. Nice confluence. We don't get a lot of confluence moves like this, but all right. Yeah, I took it out at daily. I only got $200 off the move. The profit target for that move was 79.76. Technically, the profit target was the sell signal here. So there was a lot going on because of the signal congestion. But I went ahead and got $200 off. I didn't think we were going to get much below the 80. Yeah, maybe it keeps going. We'll see. Either way, we're back down into support now. The 30-minute. Again, I'm expecting this 30-minute to find resistance right around $80. If it does, there's potential for a major pullback there. But so far, it doesn't look like they're really wanting to break it. So 15 also at the close of the bar. I didn't even pay attention to that one. The 9:15, we had a sell signal there. All that is in agreement for the counter trend move. If I'd have seen the 15, I'd have probably held it a little longer. Maybe just locked in cover commissions or something. Yeah, because with the 15 there, I should have paid attention. With 15 there, that adds an extra layer of confluence for the shot, for the pullback. That means it is going to come back into 76 and even lower. Crap. So I left a lot on the table for that one by not paying quite close enough attention. Get to see my little girl today. She's coming in for a Christmas break. It's going to be a good day. Come on, ES. ES is not really, gosh, look at that ugly run. I may not get anything on the ES. I may not get anything on the ES until, man, look, 9:35, 1 bar later is 9:40. Ugh. Yeah, I may not get anything down there for a little bit. We'll see. $9.45. I'll probably wait for the 9:45 signal on the ES. That just at this moment, that's what looks like is going to be the best bet. Just to wait on that thing to happen. All right, we got 12 minutes till the open. Crude sitting on a pattern 5 on the 30. It's a long on the 60. If it goes above 24, then it's also a long on the 15. We just had a buy signal off of pattern 5 come in here on this 918. And a minute 40 seconds, if this bar closes out and is not a brand new high, guys, I'm going to have another breakout trade. Ha! It will give another breakout. Ain't that something? And above here, it's a long way to my next resistance level. I have nothing forever. Colin may have something up there on his Elliott stuff, but I got nothing. Crude has such a pretty setup right here. All right, so that bar closed out. Now we're a little on the iffy side because the 30-minute is getting close to the end of the bar. So it's got 8 minutes to close it out. So the safe bet here on crude is to wait now for this 30-minute bar to close out. That's the safe bet, is wait for it to close, and then once it closes, if the market's hovering around here, we'll take a break out of the long. The other bet is to wait, is just go ahead and put an order here at 27, and whenever it breaks out, take the move up. But again, the 30-minute, because it is a pattern 5 and it's the last bar, it does cause some concern that we may get to the last minute of this bar, and then it may start dropping hard right off the close of the bar. So again, this is a very risky little area for another 8 minutes for a long. So for that reason, I'm going to take my order off. I'm going to leave this one on just in case, because this sucker may pull back hard in a profit target. And if it does, that's a really deep pullback, and I'll buy that sucker up again right there. I don't think it's going to pull that hard that fast, but we'll watch and see what happens. So I don't think we're going to go that hard, like I said, that quickly. But being the resistance level here of $80 and knowing that I only have 7 minutes, I can wait 7 minutes. I'll choose not to risk it. You'll see what it does for 7 more minutes. And then once that 930 bar closes, I'll take the breakout after that bar closes. That makes sense to everybody? If it wasn't for that 30-minute sitting there telling us what it's telling us, then I would have automatically just put another breakout trade long here and go with it. But because of that, again, it's better to wait. Over on the ES, again, I'm not going to do anything on 945. It's too close to the open, and we have signal congestion here, 935 to 940. I'll just hang on tight. The Russell, everything looking short. 935 is my next opportunity up. Right now, there's just nothing to do. So I'm going to go refill my coffee cup, get me another bottle of water. I'll be back.
It snowed in a couple of days from
All right, guys. Ooh, that was painful. Oh, isn't that interesting? ES is going to be a dumping pump. So it looks like the ES, that's a large move. That's a really large move for this time of day. 2 minutes before the open, these guys are dumping the market so if they can pump it back up as the market opens. So this is a preemptive strike. So they're going to dump this thing down into 945, aren't they? Huh. Sure enough. I got a feeling they're going to push this market down hard, hit 945. We're probably pushing a 945 and hit us a nice little pattern 4 action there at 945. And if we hit a pattern 4 at 945, 940, they're within 1 bar. Then we'll look for a push right back up again to the top of the power zone. So we may get a counterintuitive move at 940 and 945. That's too much movement on a single bar 2 minutes before the open or 1 minute before the open. So hang 10. This is going to be interesting. The pattern 5 on the 30-minute chart working out. Again, at resistance, not a surprise. There's a reason that we didn't just take the breakout there. Again, when you see those things, you kind of recognize what they are and don't risk it. But once that bar closes in 13 seconds, we're going to get the pullback. And then if it breaks out above that high after that 30-minute bar closes, which is now, bam, pattern 5 is in place, likely to see a pullback. But if the market launches up and puts in a higher high, now that this bar has closed, there's nothing to stop us price-wise from going up until 1 o'clock. Pattern 4, the dump and pump. There's the dump and pump on the Russell. They pushed it down just so that they can drive it up. Crazy market movers. Funny. Okay, so over on the crude, ES all over the place right this second. So I'm not doing anything again until 9:40. Crude's interesting. Russell's almost interesting. Russell, if this thing pushes up on the Russell into the close of the bar in 40 seconds, it will actually give a short opportunity, 30 seconds. Now, the same thing is applying over on the ES, and we just touched, if the ES touched 97.75 right there, it's a pattern 5. All right, so we got a little opportunity here. So now we knew we have a trend reversal is expected to happen at 9:40. So we might get a low risk short here. Oh, come on. All right, well, it filled me. And doesn't look like the low risk short's going to work out. So normally I would give this just a couple of ticks above the height of the bar. Volatility is still really fast. So I'm going to give it just a little bit more with knowing this trend reversal is coming at 9:45. This is a pattern 5, and the pattern 5 into the pattern 2. I'm going to give it to the close of this bar and see how far it goes. Because it is a pattern 5 and I have a trend reversal that's expected to start at 9:45, I was willing to give it a shot. So the volatility, we're still early in the game. The volatility is still pretty high. All right, there's 5 points off the pattern 5 first bar in. Again, these guys are whipping this thing around hard right this second, guys. So please be careful here. I was going to lock in 2 points right there, but man, geez Louise, look at this thing go. I mean, she's hammering. If it'll give me 2 solid points again, I'll probably take it because, wow. We're up to 6 points a minute for the volatility scale already. Crap. Man, this thing is whipping. So now I got to give it some room. 9:45, I will sell it again at 9:45. As again, I said earlier, that's where I was going to start, 9:40 to 9:45. But this is a pattern 5. Right now, off that last buy time, and man, she is hammering. Look at her go. Crude, I was going to say, crude has pulled down 3 consecutive lower low bars into a selling time as a pattern 8. And a pattern 8, this is the first opportunity to go long on that market after that 30-minute bar closed out. So I was sitting here looking at the ES and I missed it. I was going to look for a long opportunity at 74. I've just completely missed that. If we do get the breakout above 80.26, then that is a breakout trade. We do have 9:45 coming. We want to be careful in case it gives a pattern 5 short-term double top. Because again, if it doesn't breach the top, if it breaches the top, then the 30 minutes is going to soar out of sight. Come on, yes, give me the pullback. Man, that was quick. That's going to aggravate me there. It moves so fast. These guys are going to go crazy today. Russell back up into the bottom of its power zone. 950. We're going to be in this sell zone until 1055. If we're putting in a higher high bar at 950, 2214 or greater, that's going to be the open price line. And if the Russell hits that, we may get a low risk short. I thought the ES is going to have a low risk short, but man, it is screaming. This is the last bar of the pattern 5 right here. And I'm down. I'm really quickly down like 8 points in this thing. Man, she's hammering. We're up to 1.8. That's only 1 ATR value right now. In a minute and 17 seconds, if we're at this high, I'm going to sell it again, get an average price, and look for a pullback to get out at a better fill. Excuse me. Last bar of a pattern 5. All right, so we've entered a new power zone. I've got a track. I'm going to track this thing up. My expectation is this is a pattern 5. We should see a pullback here. The low and the high of the zone are right there. We're going to enter this selling zone at the extreme high. Whatever the height of the, or whatever the highest price of the current bar is going to be the reference point for the remainder of the day. So it's going to be a reference point. Even if it inverts, it'll still come back probably to that price. So let's see what it's going to do. We're entering a selling zone now off of a pattern 5. My average price is there. And let's see if I can't get at least a few points off. I want to be able to get to a free position and then, you know, ride the second one out. We'll see what happens in the next minute or so. So I'm giving it some room. I'm going to let this bar close and see where we go. We opened up at here. Oh, yeah. Okay. Kind of cray-cray. Big volatility today. All right, crude. Minute 20 seconds. I hate that I didn't get the buy off down here at the bottom at 74, but I didn't. The price that I have my order sitting right now that I'm looking for a possible breakout, I'm concerned a little bit because I would really like not to get that fill for at least another minute. I'd like not to get the fill for another 3 minutes, but we'll see what that's going to do. This is setting up for a possible pattern 5, 945. So I don't really want to get the entry yet. I want to let this market hover here for a moment, decide what it wants to do, and then break out after the next 3 minute bar. So that's what I'd like to see. I got 40 seconds to go. And once this bar is closed out, again, then we can get the punch out and it can go on up as far as it wants to. hanging all over that $80 a barrel mark still. ES doing a little bit of an overshoot here. Again, this market is the world's worst for giving a wick above the height of the pattern 5 and then coming right back into targets. So because I know that, just from experience, I'm willing to give this thing a little extra room. Today's going to be a weird day. Extra room today might bust me up, but we'll see. 7 points right now on the volatility scale. This market is screaming. Doji candle coming in. There's the top of our current power zone. A retest of the bottom of the zone, not a surprise. And even a breakout to the downside. So we're now into the selling zone. This is the area and the price that I said earlier I would probably engage the market. I got in a little earlier than I expected because of that pattern 5. But again, I got the average in here. I'm really within, my second move is within a point of the same price that I said it would earlier. So yeah, we'll see where it's going to go. John, hey brother, good morning. Could you know what my time parameters are on the ES? John, that's proprietary information. What a jerk I would be if I actually did that. Wouldn't that be terrible of me? You can absolutely know, John. So on my ES chart, brother, I'm using a swing of 5, which I think is default. And then I'm using calendar days, 7, 14, and 21. I use that on all my ES charts. These have been my settings on the ES for the last 4 years. So I haven't changed them all. Yeah, that's right. You're very welcome. I mean, I would be a bonehead and a half if I told you that, wouldn't I? Jeez Louise. Try not to be quite that bad of a vendor. Come on, ES. Go, son. Yeah, I'll give it a little bit more. I'm going up to the previous swing high. I think the market's going to come back to at least there. That's also the top of the previous power zone. So, all right. So my target 1 is attained. I got 4 points on the scale in. It also puts me back to at least a free position on there. 9 points on the total move. My second trade's up 9, so I'm not going to lose anything on it. Basically, the first one I got out at flush. So I didn't make anything on the first contract, but I did get out at flush on my first one. And with my second one, I'm automatically going to make something. So if I can get back down here to the average price, then I'm going to lock my second one in at about 10 points. And I can be fairly content with 10 points. John, does this move make sense? Why I scaled in where I did? I kind of knew this is what I was going to do when I started, but I didn't know what the prices were going to be. But I also didn't know the volatility was going to be kind of up there. I knew it was going to be up there some, but that's a lot. All right, guys, we got 30 seconds to close this bar out. Nice move already. And I think somebody owes me 10 points on the ES. So I'm going to lock in 10 points. See if I can get a little more out of it. But I'm going to take at least 10 points off this move. We're back down to the open price of yesterday. We have 12 seconds to close the bar. The pattern 5 target is actually the dot price, which is down here at 46.80. So because I did have to scale into it, you know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to take a loss on anything. And I'm up 14 points. So I'm going to lock in about a point above the current bar. Anybody else get a piece of this little move on the ES? Or am I here sitting here by myself? Could I explain my scale-in comment? Well, now you're being greedy. Absolutely. Good deal. Michael sold 47.08. Good job, brother. So 08. I'm looking for my final target out. Of course, I'm trailing right now hard. I got 14 points trailing. So, but I'm looking for my final target at 46.80. I get there, I'll just quit for a while. So, John, my deal was on this ES craziness. So I sold the market because I had a pattern 5, which is one of my favorite counterintuitive moves to look for. So I had here, there was my first sell-in point. So I sold it right there. And by selling it here, this was a pattern 5. The pattern 5 was qualified by it being a buying time, and the market had put in a brand new high price at that buying time. Okay, so we had a brand new high at the buy time. Bummer. All right, I only got 14 points off. Again, I only had, well, the reality is I only had one contract on, but I got 14 points off, so I'm done with that one. So I had a higher high price at this time of day at 9:35 and a buy time. That formed a pattern 5. Okay, so as of right there, I sold the market because it was a P5. The very next bar, a pattern 5, can be a 3-bar window. So it could occur the bar before the signal, the bar of the signal, or the bar after the signal. So the pullback can actually start on any of these 3 bars. I seldom ever get the first bar just because it's kind of weird to me. So I hardly ever get the first bar. So if the pullback happens on the first bar, or if the, not the pullback, but if the higher high is attained on the first bar, usually I will just not take, I won't take the trade. I'll just sit aside. Okay, so I won't do anything if it happens there. If it happens on the signal bar, I'm interested. Okay, so now I have less time for that to go against me or anything else. In this case, I know that that pullback can start on this bar, or it could start on the last bar of my 3-bar window. So that's how this works. So I have a 3-bar window for that to happen. Now, in this particular case, notice that the last bar of the 3-bar window here, which is where I sold it again, the last bar up here was also a sell signal. So we have some signal congestion. That means the signals are very, very close together. So in this particular case, it did not hurt me any that my last bar of the run was a sell signal. So therefore, I was more than, the market had moved against me more than 4 points. If it's less than 4 points, I normally won't scale in. I normally will just let it sit. Does that make sense? So I sold it again here because that was my last ditch opportunity for that market to start pulling down based on the pattern 5 principle. It also didn't hurt me one little bit that 9:45 was the time of day when my trend was expected to push right back down again. Exactly, the same thing applies for a pattern 4. Now the target for the pattern 5, so the average price between the two of these, if I'd have held on the whole time, my average price was 47.02. The target is the dot. Now I've already bailed out of here because on a trail stop, which I left a lot of money on the table, but the target is here. So when you're looking at a pattern 5, your profit target is the dot price. That means we had a short opportunity here. We had another short here. The average price between those two, if you did the average. Now, some people don't do the average. Some people will take, and a lot of times on certain markets, I won't do the average. It depends on my discretion at the moment, to be honest. But you will oftentimes take about a point above the top of the bar, a point to the top of the bar. That's your risk. So if you're not willing to take the risk, that's fine. That means you would have taken a 1 point loss or a 1.5, a 1.75 loss on the first one. The second one here, I would have given it a little bit more, but the second one, this market is the world's worst for doing the little wick thing, so I'll give it another bar. But we took a 1.5 loss if we just didn't scale in on the first one. Okay, so if I chose not to, I would have taken a 1.5 loss on the first one because of the structure of the candle. Then when I got to the second one, I would have given the second one a little extra room because that's my last ditch effort. So my profit target is the dot price. So it makes sense to me to sell it way up here, not risk a ton, but looking for the market all the way back to the bottom. Same thing happens with pattern 4, just reversed. So great. New folks, and I like to go over this at least once a week or so, just so that people get an idea of what I'm doing. Anybody still hanging on? I know some of you guys have multiple contracts and whatnot. So this market, the trade is still working. It's going very well. We are now within a point of our profit target. Do not lose anything on this trade. So if you're still hanging on to your trade, you should now be just a tick above the current bar at 89.75, which is actually more than I make, and 1 tick from your profit target, which I hate that I'm not still in here because that was a 20-some point trade. That's almost a 30-point trade. I got out with 14 here, so I got out with 14 points, and that ended up being a 30-point run. So nice move. Congratulations, guys, for all of you guys that are hanging in there. And again, on the ES especially, you get within a tick of your target, don't you lose a dime. Son of a gun stopping 1 tick. Go, hit the dumb target. See, that just pisses me off. Michael got out at 85. Good job, Michael. Target attained. All right, so it got it. It bounced all over it for a minute and it got it. So it took it 15 minutes to get your profit target. But, you know, to make $1,000 in 15 minutes is really not bad money. Now, John, since you're newer here, the moves like we just saw in the ES, these are going to happen pretty regularly. Maybe not to that volatility, but the move itself is the same, volatility aside. Now, here's the deal. This trade, according to my general back testing, whatever you call it, and my observations in this market, this trade will make money about 52 to 55% of the time. Okay, so bear that in mind. So when you're looking at an opportunity, pattern 4s and pattern 5s, they're going to make money 52 to 55% of the time. But now the money that they make compared to the money that you risk is usually somewhere between 3 and 10 to 1. So all depending on the volatility of the market, you're going to be somewhere between a 3-to-1 ratio and a 10-to-1 ratio, all depending. This particular move off the first one, again, the first one took a loss. The first trade in here was about a 6-to-1, and the second trade, our risk ratio was this second one was going to be a 4-point risk, looking for a 27-point target. See what I mean? So you have to you got to make your mind up. Is it worth the risk? Are you willing to risk $200 to make whatever 30 points is, 27 points is? Exactly. And that's the beautiful thing about pattern 4s and 5s. They are typically low risk trades. Now on markets like the ES, the ES is the most hateful market that there is for a pattern 4 and pattern 5. Okay, I wish I could tell you it wasn't, but it just is. Now, why is it the most hateful? It is the most hateful because of this crap right here. You see the wick? See this dumb little wick? That wick happened the bar after the pattern. So based on my rules, the only thing that separates us from the animals are rules. So based on my rules, the risk off of this trade should have been right here. Okay, so if we sold the market at 47.07, our risk on this trade should have been no more than a point above the top of the bar. So you're looking at 47.09. That should have been the maximum risk. But you see what the ES does? You see that dumb wick? The ES market is the worst for that wick. And it is so bad for it that all depending on what this is, there are times I won't trade this at all. I'll just wait for the wick. You know what I mean? Which is fine. You just have to know it's there. If you already know that probably 6 out of 10 times this market is going to give you that wick, and they're going to wick through whatever your target was or your entry was going to be or your stop was going to be, as long as you know that that's probably going to happen, you can actually play this a different way. You can play this where you let the wick happen, and as soon as you see the market pushing through the price that was going to be your stop, then you can simply come through and place a sell order. You can put a sell stop order under the market. So you can let the market push through it, place your sell stop order under it, and then let the market come back through you and on the way to the profit target, and you don't have to take that heat. And then if the market screams out of sight and never comes back, you never took that heat at all. If you're playing the ES, that is not a horrible way to play a pattern 4 and pattern 5. Does that make sense? So as long as you know it happens, it's okay, because it just is. And out of all the markets I've ever looked at, and I love this market, I really do, but you know, it's a nuance of this market. It's just a nuance of the market. So again, you can just wait on this one and wait until after that bar closes, and then let the market push through, place the order at the same price, because most of the time it's going to come right back down and it's going to get inside that line and keep going. Some of the markets that's the most loving for it is the crude. So crude does not have a tendency to overshoot like the ES does. So far this morning, you've seen me take 2 or 3 pattern 5 trades on crude. Crude doesn't have that tendency to scream like that. Okay. So it could be a pretty good little market for that kind of stuff. Crude reacts and responds fairly well, surprisingly. You know, considering it's way less contracts than the ES, it's surprising how well it actually does. The Russell also at times can have a tendency to overshoot. This thing is it's a wick monster at times. The Russell's putting in a pattern 4 right now, so it's counter trend, counterintuitive. See if I can get a little buy action here over on the Russell. Come on. All right, so the Russell is giving me a little wick action. I don't have to take a lot of risk on it. In fact, I'm taking very little risk. So it pushed through. And now that it's pushed through, I took a 3/4 of a point hit because it's hateful. And I got one more bar. So if I'm looking for a counter trend move, I've got to the close of the current bar. Now it's going to make me mad if it doesn't do. Now here's going to be the interesting part. Okay. So I took a really small hit. Considering that my profit target, thank you, Michael. Good job on your trade this morning, brother. Congratulations. You don't need but one of those a week, make you so happy. So considering that our profit target, ladies and gentlemen, was here, my entry was here. I gave it a little bit of room below the bottom. That's all. Again, I'm not willing to risk much. So John, what do you think this ratio is to the dot? It's got to be at least what? At least 20 to 1. Right? So that's all the risk I gave it. I'm not risking a lot, am I? So let that sucker pop. If it don't go, it don't go. Now, when this bar closes, when the current bar closes, I can get the same trade again. So if it closes way down here, the lower it closes, the lower my risk. So the lower the bar gets to the bottom of the bar, the lower my overall risk in the trade. So when this thing gets down to, again, I'm counting down, it's got 3 minutes yet to close. So I got some time. So when it gets down to just a few seconds, I can place another buy limit order here. And off that second buy limit order, I can try it again. It's the last ditch effort for this thing to push back up. Now I could have scaled in. Okay, so I could have just bought it here, waited, and scaled in again at the next one. You can do that. But when the volatility is really high like it is now, again, you take a lot of intra-trade heat. Yeah, no, I'll try not to get mad. How about I do this for you? I'll do you one better than that, brother. I have a document. I actually have a document. Documents are great things, right? I have a document that shows you. I got this little document right here. I'm going to send this to you. I'm going to drop it in the room for everybody who wants it. And basically, this is a simple Word doc. It's a notepad thing. And all it does, it just tells you it's the swing trading days, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you're going to use it on a daily chart, that's what it is. For the CL, for the ES, these are the settings that I use. Okay, so I'm going to send that to everybody here. There we go. So check your question and answer box, and you should see that little document. As soon as you click on it, when you click on it, it's going to turn around and save it to your downloads folder, and you're going to have it. All right, so over on the Russell, starting to get a little pullback action. I'll tell you what, Crude also. Russell's giving a little pullback. We have a pattern 4, 27 seconds to close the bar. I took a little stop out on the first one. The second one is the risk is a lot bigger. Click doesn't work. Yeah, copy it and paste it into a browser window. And as soon as you do, it'll download it automatically. Some people's computers it works and some it doesn't. I think it's a BIOS setting or something. I don't know. 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay. Now we've got a doji. Come on, fill my dumb position. My risk, I already know, has got to be below the low. So if this trade's going to work, it ought to take off that doji and push back up. My risk has got to be down here, which is, it sucks because it's more than I would like to give it, but it is what it is. But my profit target is up here. If I hang on the whole distance, I'll get my profit off way up there, which is still about a 4-to-1 ratio, even with that a larger amount of risk. So it is very counter trend too. Now, my key here is going to be the bar that I'm on now. This bar has to close above 2182. Okay, if it doesn't close above, then this sucker is going to drop like a hammer. So if it goes below where my stop is my stop is going to be a good spot because I need to be out of this thing anyway. Come on, you pig. It's going to sweat me. Now, if this market takes out my stop over on the Russell, I'm going to place a sell limit order and I'm going to break it. I'm going to sell it as a breakout. So if it takes out my stop, I'm going to sell it as a breakout and I'm going to try to hold that position until the next buy time, which is 11 o'clock. I got some time. And then if it pulls back up to the open price line, I'm going to sell it again because a pattern 4 breakout, I'm going to get my money back. So if I lose my 4 points here, I'm going to be mad. Almost, if I'm going to lose 5 points, I'm going to be mad, but I'm going to get it back on the short side. That's how I'm going to play this one. If it goes up, fine. If it pushes down, I'm going to break it out to the downside. Whoops. All right, crude. I'm looking at crude here. We have a trend reversal on crude here coming shortly. Our current high and low on crude are here. We'll see how that works out. This is automatically a pattern 4 off this 15-minute candle now too. Range expansion and a pattern 4. 15 minutes says we should see a pullback up anytime. That one's going to close out also in about a minute. So I have a pattern 4 on the 15 and a pattern 4 on the 5. And it's almost a pattern 4 here over on the 1 hour. Interesting. 1 hour pattern 4 is going to be down there at 2173. So that's a little bit lower. It's still got 45 minutes. Not a good sign for me though. So in 55 seconds, if this market is not back up and closing the bar above 2182, I'm gonna reduce my risk and I'm gonna probably get out of this trade. So one of my rules is I got my entry. And the first bar after the pattern, at least by the second bar, if I'm willing to give it anything, by the second bar after the pattern, it needs to be above the open price line, which again is 21.82. If it's not, reduce some risk. It's probably not going to work. Now, occasionally it'll hit and, you know, do something stupid. But for all intents and purposes, if you can get out flat or get out with, you know, less than a point of risk because the candle didn't close like you thought it would, take the lower risk trade and be done, which is what I'm going to do right here. So I'm out. Now that this market did not close above or did not get the back up and close higher, it did not take out my stop, but I'm not willing to give it any more because now I'm outside of my signal. But I tell you what I am willing to do. Now, if it pulls back to the open price line, I'm going to sell it again. Now I'm going to sell it. The same signal, which was a pattern 4, which gave me the push down. It has not broken the bottom, but it also didn't close back up above the bar. So therefore, if it pulls back to the open price line, I'm going to see if I can sell it as a breakout. Whoops, that was the wrong way. That was almost going to be bad. $177, 2 ticks below the bottom, that was going to be my stop level. So if the market hits that level, I expect it will break out and push hard down, and I'll get my 5 points back. But I'm not taking any more risk. I didn't lose 5 points. I lost a point on the first one, and I lost 2.5 points on the second one. Now watch, this is going to be one of these hateful ones that doesn't get back up above that line in the first bar and takes the second bar. And then it's going to go on up to the target. Now that I've talked about it, that's probably what will happen, but it does happen that way sometimes. And they're just hateful when they do. But again, you have to figure out, is it worth the risk when you recognize that if this thing doesn't move up quickly, you can leave your risk there, you can trail it up. At this point, I could already be out with some profit if I just left it alone. But normally that doesn't happen. It does happen about, I'd say, 3 out of 10. All right, ladies and gentlemen, ES is still on the short side of everything here, the short side of the power zone. We came into the buy time, ignored it. Profit targets were attained off the pattern 5, the pattern 2. The trend is expected to be down all day. So my next opportunity for something with the direction of the trend is going to be at 10:30. If we can pull up into 10:30, I might get a short off of 10:30. Let's see what happens. Crude, I don't really have anything setting up right now. From our last buy signal, we hit the top of the power zone, and the market's just been sitting here. We do have a trend reversal coming on crude at 10:27. So 10:27 is a trend reversal, and I'm just kind of keeping up with where the low is. Right now, the low is here. I'm probably not going to do anything else. Now, 10:24 and 10:27, if we're hitting a new low at that time of day, that'll be a power zone pattern 4, and the likelihood is pretty high that we can get a low risk long and retest the top of the zone. Doesn't mean we're going to invert, but it does mean a lot of times it'll go all the way to the other side. My daughter is sitting in, she's been sitting on the runway for the last 40 minutes. All right, John. You see how, John and Jan, you see how the market broke through the bottom on that pattern 4? That is now a trend continuation down move. So with the market, we had a small pullback, but again, when the first bar after that pattern 4, that's this one, when that bar did not close above that open price line, most of the time, this market will continue down into the next buy time. It's a trend continuation move. So I take it as a breakout trade. I'm just looking to get some cash back. Now that it's done that, if it does pull up against me, and if it hits the open price line again, I'll sell it with an average, and then I'll get out both contracts with a retest of the low. But I've got until, you know, I've got some time here till 11 o'clock. Does that make sense? So it gives me the breakout. A lot of times it'll give you the breakout and it'll scream right down the very first bar. Today, volatility is kind of on the wild side. So like I say, a lot of times you can get whatever your loss was. Most of the time you can actually, if you're paying attention, you can get that reversal and you can get your loss back on the very first bar after it. Basically, you can go back to a free position in the market. I'm kind of ready to be done with this trade, but it's been back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Hateful piece of trash. And when they get that way, you know, you get that crazy volatility, I'm just tired of it. So it's going to hit my target going down, but when they get this back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, it gets so annoying. So I got 3 points off the combination of the two, which puts me back to a plus position on all 3 of those trades that I just took. So I'm back to making money again off of all 3 of them. And again, if I just hang on to it, it's going to move on down. It will end up being lower at 11 o'clock than it is now. I just don't feel like messing with it. Sometimes when they just bounce like this, they get annoying, and I don't like that. I'm sure you guys have never run across a trade that you were in that you just got annoyed with. So I know it's just it's a thing for me. All right, we're getting a strong little pullback here. Hang 10. We had the breakout over on the Russell. Russell's getting a strong pullback up. ES is pulling up into 1030. And it's not quite a pattern 4 on the crude, but we're definitely entering the new trend zone near the bottom. That's just going to look messy. That's just going to be messy. All right, well, we entered a new trend zone. Look for a little sell action here. I might be late on the crude. Let's see if we can't get a low risk sell. We had a sell signal on the warp that came in 1 bar before the sell signal on the prime, and I'm gonna see if I can get a little sell on the prime here. 1, 2, 3 consecutive low bars into a selling time, 1030. That might give me a problem. 30-minute, there's that pattern 5. That's the reason that we haven't taken a long after a while. But yeah, that was still giving a pullback. Everything bounced off that daily resistance level. Kind of looking for a short here off the close of that last big bar. But if it doesn't work, I'm not willing to give it much above 70. It's already started to make a small move down, so I'm gonna run out of time. 30 seconds left to go. Yeah, I'm going to take that order off. This is just not a super clean place. I would like it to be cleaner. If the market puts in a higher high than this bar on the 1033 bar, then I would be willing to sell the 1033 bar. We are getting a push up, but it's just not super clean at all. ES up into the sell time. We just retested the average price of the last 120 bars. I'm willing to sell the ES again here. Wow, look at it move, you pig. All right, so they move strong. All right, now if this thing is going to work off this average price, I'm not going to give it forever. But we just pulled up and we hit the average price. And the last bar before it was right there. Holy cow, look at this thing whipping around here. Normally, that's a big move. Today, with the volatility being at 10.5 points per bar, I'm going to scalp it. Go back down, pig. Give me $50. Holy crap. Did you see how fast that thing moving today? Oh my gosh. I grabbed a quick $50 off and it happened in a half a second. Normally, you get some time, but geez Louise. All right, hang on. This is the highest volatility we've seen on the ES. 10 points, that's almost 11, 10.56. We're at 11 points per bar. This is the highest volatility we've seen. I don't think we had 11 points a bar back in December. I know we had 9 points or 10 points one day, but I don't remember us having 11. So that's the biggest volatility moves that we've seen in a while. So guys, if you're playing over on this market, they're all moving pretty quickly, but this one's losing its mind. So please, you're going to have to give this thing some room. Be very, very cautious and careful in this market. She's kind of crazy right now. As we get close to the end of this bar, maybe a minute left or something, if the market is not above 94.50, I might sell it again. Because if it's much above, if it's anything above 94.50, then we're probably going to come back to the open price line, which is all the way up here. And my next signal is not till 11:10. So I mean, 11:10 would be another pattern 5. We're hitting the open of the yesterday's move. We're retesting that previous bar at the sell time. If we hit the open price line up here within a bar of the sell time, I'd sell it again, but we got to get there within 1 bar. It's just moving so fast. I'm being very, very careful here. This market is losing it today. So we'll see. That was a quick $50 scalp. Oof. Gee, that's 5 points. Look at these guys go. Remember, if we close 2 bars above 47.12 between now and 11 o'clock, then the trend is going to go up for the rest of the afternoon. So far, we've been spot on for the trend. Kind of weird little place here on the crude. Jeez Louise. That's a strong pullback off that. That pattern 4 finally did come into its target. Aggravating thing. That was annoying. Very, very annoying. Back and forth, back and forth. New trend move. Again, sometimes it's better just to cut them and go. When they don't go, you can usually tell. All right, we're gonna have a new trend sell. It's gonna start at 10:55 here over on the Russell. I really thought we would get and we did technically get a pattern 4. So we moved into here from a pattern 4 off that time warp signal at 10:24. Now it's just a matter of whether or not we can find a way to get anything else. I'm gonna take this one off. That was my profit target for the 30-minute. I don't think we're gonna get there. The 30's back up to its open price line. Now that the 30-minute has had the pullback though, if this market breaks out of the top, it's gonna scream. Yeah, if crude manages to push up and get above 80.27, it will lose its mind. Pattern 8 here at 10:30. Pattern 8 with a pattern 4. I got a hunch. Let's see where it's going to go. I'm giving the ES 2 bars because of the volatility. Again, I'm being very careful at this point. Because this volatility is off the reservation, if it comes back up and hits 47.07, and it has to do it, for me, it needs to do it by the end of this bar. So if it hasn't hit it in the first 2 bars after the sell time, then I'm not willing to, I'll sit on the side until a pattern 5 or something. So I'm not going to do anything else with it. Remember, just because there's a time signal on your chart, ladies and gentlemen, does not mean that you have to do something. It needs to make sense. So it's the time of day that you need to focus on the market. Like right now on crude, I'm into what I consider to be a counter trend move. It's a buy time in what I'm looking for sells, unless the market breaches the top. And if it breaches the top, I'll bet, it's going to go up and I'm going to buy it, which is fun. But until then, 10:57, I may get a short if we're close to the top of the range. So I'm not interested here in the buy. It's not a pattern 5. It's not anything. It's just a signal. So it's a buy time. Doesn't mean the market won't go up. It just means I'm not really interested in playing with it because it doesn't fit what I'm looking for. ES almost doesn't fit what I'm looking for. I'm gonna look for a bounce, but I have resistance. This is a known resistance level. It came off the doji at the high of day, 9:45. And the closer that I get to the top of this red box, the lower my perceived risk. Okay, so the closer I get to the top, the less risk I think I have. Excuse me. Today I want a 3rd cup of coffee. I'm definitely going to get a cough drop. Oh. All right, I gave it 2 bars after the signal to get up and hit that open price line. It's got 25 seconds, so I don't think we're going to get there. It would have to hustle to get there in 20 seconds. It could do it, but it was not likely at this point. So I'm going to take my order off. All flat for me. I got nothing. I got my breakout trade sitting on the crude. That breakout level is based on a new high of day based on the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart, pattern 5. We stopped taking longs earlier today because of this thing. And now that the pullback has happened in the last hour and a half on that 30-minute chart, if we get a push above there, it will launch up into 1 o'clock this afternoon. So I'll be able to take that as a breakout trade. Otherwise, I don't have anything else here. And if the market breached there, it would be an inversion of the trend. So the 3-minute trend would probably invert if we get above that. Otherwise, I don't have anything with 1057 to play with. Nothing on the Russell till 1055. I think the Russell's going to roll right back down and end up at 2182 by the time this zone's over. Sell, buy, sell. No signals for me, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to take a break for a minute. I'll be back after a bit. Nothing to do. Rest your minds for a few minutes.
I love you, baby, can I have some more? was my band. I watched the needle make another man. Gone, gone.
Hi guys, trend reversal on the NASDAQ, and not the NASDAQ, but the Russell here. Just a couple of minutes. 10:55. Got nothing else setting up. I'll check back in a minute. All right, well, we probably could consider the Russell up here a pattern 5. We pushed up and we're putting in a higher high. The true pattern 5 wouldn't be until here. So that would be the true pattern 5. Let's see if the bar we're on right now pushes up and gives us a buying bar. If it'll give us a buying bar up into 2205, we might could sell it. Because we'd have a buying bar at a buying time, and it would be 3 consecutive higher high bars. It would at least be a pattern 9. So let's see if it's going to give us that, or if it's just going to roll back over. I'm going to let that order sit for a second. Did not get the breakout as of yet. Crude's gone into a sideways range. We came into the sell zone. We're into a selling signal at 1057, but it's a selling bar. Not really interested. That means the market's going to pull down from the last buy signal. We're going to end up being lower. That means off the sell, probably going to see a push back up into 1103. So it's going to act like a pattern 4 counter to the trend. Market's gone into a lot of indecisiveness here. ES 1110, we're going to end up with a sell at 1110 as well. So over on the ES, our last signal, we had to buy, we had the sell. We did not get the down reaction at the sell. And by this down reaction not happening, that means this one's probably going to push up into 1110, and then we'll get to move back down again. So we may end up with a pattern 5 here at 1110. Good possibility. Hang 10, guys. 11 o'clock. This one is now starting to form. Again, if we got to push up into 2215, that's a pattern 5. It's a 9 now. But we've got 2 more minutes to wait for the bar to close and see if we can get something lower risk. Still favoring the short. See if we're going to get a short opportunity here. Pattern 5 open price line still holding resistance here over on the crude. It's kind of in no person's land. Crude's in nowhereville until it either breaks the high or gets to its target. It's going to be a mess. Man, low risk right now over on the Russell is like 4 points because of the bar structure. Man, the volatility is out the top. Let's see how this bar closes. Looks like it's going to close a selling bar despite it. Got a really nice big wick. Still would have to put us at 2202.90, which would put our risk at 2208. 6 points. I'm not really interested in a 6-point risk. If it give me something less, I might would take an adverse excursion short. Next signal's not till 11:30. It's not a very clean setup. Look at our 1 minute. Maybe 11:04. 11:04, we might get a 1 minute pattern 5, which would be, I mean, this one's not this. It's just a mess. I'm looking for something to do, and there's not anything setting up. So usually if I do that, I'll get in trouble. I'm sitting on the side. I really want there to be a trade here, and there technically is, but the risk is so big that I don't want to do it. This would have to be 6 points of risk from the current price, and I really just don't want to do that. Doesn't mean it's not going to work. It just means it's a lot of risk. Please be careful there. That's going to be weird. Yep, and it's working. So the trade is starting to go down as expected. Again, just the risk is some kind of wild. Hey, John. Scott, does the software print pre-6s and pre-7s? Typically it does, but you don't see a lot of them. So you don't see very many 6s and 7s. In fact, we were working, the developer and I were looking at that not long ago. But you don't see 6s and 7s a whole lot. Once in a while. But they are not very common. You probably get 2 or 3% of the time, maybe. That makes sense, Scott? So you don't see them much. There was a period of time, a very brief period of time, probably 6 months or a year, where we were seeing several pattern 6s and 7s. And then now they've kind of faded out where you hardly ever see one. It was a phase, I guess. I don't know. They were prevalent enough for a while that we coded them in. But now, like I say, nowadays, you don't see them hardly ever. The parameters I've given you earlier, should they be used for the same time frames that you're using? I'd use them for everything. So I use them for the instrument itself. So John, I would use those same parameters, like the parameters for my ES chart over here. I had the same parameters on my 15-minute. So those are the parameters that I use for the ES market. Everything except for the daily. Does that make sense, brother? So like the daily and the weekly, I have a different set, but I notated those on that sheet. So the daily and the weekly have a different set of guidelines. But all the timed charts, I use the same set of parameters for all of my time charts. All right, Giant. Good to see you today. Jan bailing out on us. All right, so we're still in the selling zone on a daily scale. Remember, we talked about earlier that whenever you see this big move down, the next day is likely to give a pullback up, and that's what we're seeing. I'm not looking for the next day to be a huge pull up, but we should expect to see a pullback up into the next day. So that's what we're getting right now. Testing top of the power zone, 11:30 is going to be the last signal of our morning right there over on the Russell. We'll see if it stays inside the zone into 11:30. If it does, we might get a short off of 11:30. Over on the ES, 11:20, we have finally ground our way back up, and we're very close to that open price line. So the ES has had a hard move down. We've come a lot of the way back up. Lowest risk area on the chart for the day, really. The area is going to be right here between 47.07 and 47.12. That's about the lowest risk spot on my chart. So anywhere in that range, we're going to be looking for shorting opportunities. We're close to it now. First retest of that open price line. I had an order sitting there earlier, thinking we might get there at this sell signal, but we didn't, and now we've gotten one tick from it at the next sell signal. Wow, look at it drop. Holy cow. I still have 3 minutes to close this bar, so this bar is not over, but it looks like it's going to drop. I mean, right off that retest of that open price line. That's hilarious. It's dropping it like a hammer. So let's see where it closes. If it closes near 47.07, then I'm going to look for a shorting opportunity off of it. Could probably be my last trade of the day. Closer we get to the top of that red box, again, the happier I am with a short. Man, look at that sucker. She got one tick and just drop it like a hammer. That's great. 11:21, we're going to come into a shorting time on the crude. We went from a sell, market pulled down into the sell, and it actually pulled up and then it pushed down into the buy. So it resumed the cycle. And now we're pushing up into a short, so 11:21 retested the previous swing high, $80 a barrel. Daily resistance, we have 12 seconds to close this bar, and then let's see if the very next bar we might get a shorting opportunity for just a few minutes. We're only going to get 6 minutes in it, so there's not a lot of time, but let's see if the market will give us a buying bar. I'd probably sell here. So if the market were to hit $80 a barrel in the next 3 minutes, then I'll short it for the next 6 minutes. So hang 10 here for a minute. Let's see what we get. We got crazy ES. Man, come on. Give me a bar up here. Can't believe they're going to do that. So close. That was so close. This market's going to fall right back down. Look at crude dropping off the open of the bar. It didn't even give me a chance to close the bar yet. It's just going to fall right off the open. No entry opportunity. Sure enough, ES going to do the same dumb thing. They did not give us anywhere. They hit in the very first 2 minutes or the first minute of the bar, and they've dropped it ever since, which is not going to give me an entry. Man, that's sad. Maybe it'll come back and fill me right there. I'll let it sit for a minute. Still going to have to be about 5 points of risk if it hits there. So, but I don't think it's going to. It's going to. Holy cow! John, these are the frustrating ones when you're so close to what you want to see, but the market falls away out from under you before the bar even gets close to closing out. Those frustrate me to no end. And then you get the big wick, and the big wick, obviously an indication of a reversal. But I mean, look at your risk now. 47. I mean, this thing's going to have 8 points of risk to get just above the bar. I'm not happy with that. Doesn't mean it's not going to move down. It just means that the risk is larger than I'm willing to accept for an initial entry. The NQ is too, I don't care for that whippy action. The Russell is about as whippy as I like to see. I used to trade the NQ. We had the NQ here in the room for the longest time. And a year ago now, we switched over to the Russell instead of the NASDAQ. The NASDAQ has a tendency to put in gigantic candles. And because it's such a thin traded market, like the NQ, it only has, at any given time, you'll have somewhere between 12 and 20 contracts per price point. So if somebody drops a 50 lot on there, which occasionally somebody will do, that's what causes that market to spike out of sight. There's actually more volume traded on the micro NQ. The micro NQ actually has more volume than the mini NQ does. So yeah, it's just a little bit too whippy for me. It's a personal preference thing. My partner Michael, and I mean Colin, who's here in the room a lot of times, don't know where he is today, but Colin, a lot of people love the NASDAQ, and that's fine. It's just not for me. It's just so, again, it's such a whippy rascal. It bothers me when people do that. And you talk about one that'll overshoot in a minute. The NASDAQ is the worst that there ever been for overshooting a price level by sometimes 8 or 10 points and then coming all the way back to the other side. So yeah, it's just not my thing. That makes sense. It doesn't mean it's a bad market. It just means it's just not my thing. I have enough to watch too. Every once in a while, somebody will tell me, "Why don't you have all the indices, or why don't you have a forex pair and a gold, and why don't you have all these other things?" Well, and the truth about it is, I don't need them. You know what I mean? It's like, do you really need to watch all those instruments all the time? And maybe, some people are just bored and they want to be, some people want to be engaged in a market or they want to have a live contract on something all the time, which is fine if that's what you want. But, I'm a believer, if that's your thing, then call it what it is. It's something that you happen to want to do. It's not that you need to do that to be profitable. I want to be profitable, but I also want to be profitable without a ton of stress. And every time you're in a position, there's a certain amount of stress. So if I can make money trading average of 9 times a day, that's my average. So I'm going to average trading 9 positions a day. Well, I'm okay with that. I don't need 30 or 40 or 50 contracts a day to make money. You know what I mean? That's right. Yeah, the NQ is, I haven't traded gold in years because gold used to be that way. Gold works great with timing. The problem with gold on the timing side is similar to the NQ. It will have a buy signal and the market will move up 8 ticks. It'll have a sell signal and the market will move down 7 or 8 ticks. It'll have a buy signal and the market will move up 7 or 8 ticks. It'll have a sell signal and the market will move down 90 ticks. You're like, wait, what? Where did that come from? Now, it happened right on time. But you never know which one of those dumb signals is going to be the one that some knucklehead's going to drop 90 million contracts on. it'll range bound itself for an hour, and you'll get 10 tick moves up and down, and then suddenly there's a huge move. Drives me crazy. So I don't like it. So I choose not to trade it. I don't need to trade it. You know what I mean? All right, guys, we have 5 minutes left in my morning. I don't see anything at this moment worth trading. I'm not going to get into a position in the last 2 minutes of the day. So I'm going to call it for me today. Let's pull in a, let's pull up a trade monitor here. How have we done today? Today is the 5th. Why will you never change? Today is the 6th. All right. So for today, we've had 10 contracts traded. So I've traded 10 times today, 10 contracts. 8 out of those 10 have made money. So we're going to have an 80% win rate for the day. We've paid the man $40.42. So not too shabby on that. We're going to net the day out with 1217.08. Profit factor is pretty good at a 7. For the week this week, I'm going to close out the week with $2,234.94. The overall profit factor for the whole week has been 2.8. We've paid $135 in commissions and 69.7% win rate. We've had 33 trades this week. So, yeah. See what I mean, John? I don't really want to trade a lot. The higher this number is, right there, the higher the total number of trades for the week is, that means the higher that number is. And I am not into paying commissions. I want my commissions to be little bitty. So if that number right there gets too high, I'll start whining and bitching about stuff because I'm not doing well. But that's what it is for the week. So we're going to close out the week here. Thank you, everybody, for hanging around with me. Please be super careful in these markets. They're starting to calm down a little bit right now. Average true range are back down to 5 or 9, down to 9 for the day. That's kind of crazy. But so for the year, starting off a year, our first week in the new year, $2,200 for the first weekend on our 33 contracts total. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you being here. We'll look forward to seeing everyone back on Tuesday where we'll do it again. Same channel, same time. Thanks, everybody. Have a great weekend.